ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for a good friend and colleague, Mr. Brady Kannon. Go follow him at Las Vegas Golfer and, of course, on the Sports Grid. Tea time wagers. A half hour earlier than normal. Life gets busy, and with Brady's schedule definitely gets busy, as he'll be heading quickly after the show on to the Sports Grid, so make sure you tune in there. Today's headline: is it time to start comparing Sheffler to Tiger? 3M opened this week, and if you didn't see, well, I'll cue you in. 1197. If that doesn't ring a bell, let me tell you what it is. 1197 days from the very first major to the fourth major. And guess who, too, did it in 1197 days? Tiger Woods and Scottie Sheffler. Kind of amazing how that happens. It's just the world we live in. So we'll talk some Scottie. We'll talk a little Bryson for a second, then we'll dig right in, of course, to the 3M Open Twin Cities. So without further ado, Mr. Brady Kannon.
What an open. I mean, Scottie Sheffler, he really is a blessing for us sports bettors in many ways. You know, in some ways, you hate to have him there because, you know, you're trying to beat him, right? You know, you don't want to necessarily eat 5-1 or 3-1 or 4-1 or whatever, and you're trying to find that 20-1 plus guy that's going to beat him, and it doesn't happen all that often. But, you know, I've kind of shifted my stance with how I wager with Scottie. You know, we've hit him a couple times pre-tournament at the Hero World Challenge, a little 20-man event. We bet him as low as 2-1 or what have you. I bet him pre-tournament before and lost. I've been more successful betting him in tournament when he's as high as minus 500, minus 600. And that's the way I've kind of shifted with Scottie. I don't want to bet him at 3 or 4 or 5-1 with 72 holes to play, but I'm okay laying a big price with 18 holes to play, and he's, you know, tied for the lead or in the lead or whatever, because the man doesn't lose. He's a tremendous front runner. You talk about the comparisons to Tiger. Well, there's another parallel. Tiger, I think it was 37 times, had the 54-hole lead and went on to win, and now that's 10 in a row for Scottie with this latest edition at Royal Portrush. So, I mean, that is really a good thing for bettors. That's like betting on Floyd Mayweather. You know, when he's in that position, he doesn't lose. And I mean, I laid minus 575 heading into that final round on Sunday, and I know that's a big price. One hole in, he was minus 1,400. You know, 6 holes in, he was minus 20,000. I mean, it turned out that I got a bargain. So, and you know, you touched on it too. I remember 25 years ago, Tiger was annoying. I was like, God, you know, can I just get David Duval to challenge? Can I just get some drama with Mickelson? And can we just see a good finish? This guy sucks the life out of a golf tournament. And, you know, we know who's going to win, and it's not any fun. And, you know, now with Sheffler, I feel like the competition is tougher than what Tiger faced. And it seems like we do see some more drama. But he, too, has a knack for sucking the life out of a golf tournament, just like he did last weekend in Northern Ireland. But I think I've gotten to a point, at least myself, where I appreciate watching the greatness more than I did with Tiger. I was younger then, and I was just frustrated by the lack of drama and excitement. Now I've gotten to a point where I appreciate watching this man do what he does and do it so well. And I think it's also something about the demeanor. Tiger had the swagger and the charisma, and Scottie's just like the boy next door. Um, but yeah, there are so many similarities, while there are differences as well. Is it time to compare the two, like you asked in the Open? Yeah, I think there are a tremendous amount of parallels here, and I think most of which is how they go about their business, how they execute, from point A to point B, with point B being winning the golf tournament. There's a lot of similarities in not only how they go about doing it, but on the accomplishment side as well. I mean, Scottie is making a run to catch him very quickly. He's going to have to probably do it for the next 10 years, but he is absolutely on that trajectory right now. And it really is a pleasure to see. Has Rory been that guy? No. I mean, we've never seen that guy before. And not to say that Scottie's better than these guys, but it is that special place where he stands alone, where we can truly compare him to Tiger, I believe, at this really early part of his career.
I think we sent out 10 or 11 pre-flops, and what we've done, we ended up 2 out of 4 in this year's majors. We were 4 for 4 last year, so we've hit 6 out of our last 8. And I made it clear, circa closing bell plus 601 on Sheffler, which I thought was like, usually you get to a number and then when it starts to rise, you're like, eh. So I clearly put to the people that want a single and they want one swing, one bite at the apple, this is a perfect spot to do a nice little 2-unit on Scottie if he wins and you're in Vegas or you have a circa available. You collect yourself a 1202 spot, and then, we went further down the board. The markets have gotten... They didn't have this with Tiger, and I see a lot of people on social media and Twitter put this, the winner without Scottie. And so your odds are less, but hey, we're kind of conceding. All right, Scottie, we understand this. So you got your handful below without Scottie or without Rory.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. I don't recall that with Tiger necessarily.
No.
What I do recall with Tiger is being like 2-1 and I think sometimes even par, or even money, I should say. I think I remember him being as low as even money, not necessarily to win a major, but on some certain tournaments and majors, he was like 2-1. And Jeff Sherman, our good friend at the Westgate Superbook, said he expected Scottie to go on to win the British Open, and he said, if and when he does, we're going to start to get into that territory where he's plus 250, plus 350. We're not going to see the 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 to 1s anymore on Scottie. We haven't seen those in a little while, but you're right. 6-1 was pretty much the high water mark for the British, and that wasn't only at Circa; it was at a few spots. But I think those days could be long gone here for a minute. So, yeah, it's like with any guy. It doesn't matter who it is. It's about timing. It's about picking your spot. When is the number right? And I think with Scottie, you can take a shot with him pre-flop, but I think it's almost easier. At least I've decided. I'm going to bet him with no more than 36 holes left to play. I'm not going to. I don't want to lay such a. I don't know if "lay" is the right word. I don't want to eat up such a short price with 72 holes of golf left to play, because anything can happen with 4 rounds. But when he gets to the point where he's doing what he does, and I'm like, okay, I got 18, 27 holes left. Yeah, all right, now's the time. I don't care what the price is. He's not going to mess this up, and he doesn't. He hasn't yet.
No, and again, golfer of the year, they've already engraved that one. We have the 3M this weekend, of course. We're leading up to the FedEx. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they say starting this year he's not going to have that 10-shot lead on the bottom guy and like that, like they've been doing?
Correct. Yeah, the starting strokes are going away this year. And so that does make it a little bit interesting. We were talking with Will Gray of the PGA Tour on Sports Grid over the weekend, and he reminded me of that because, again, Jeff Sherman has come out with the odds for FedEx Cup champion, and Scottie was 2-1. And I was like, that looks like a pretty good bet to me right now. How's he not going to win it? But you're right. The starting strokes have gone away. So that makes things a little bit different. And I don't know exactly how they're going to do it because you would think they have to give the guy who's in first place in the standings some sort of head start. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe it's just 30 guys and here's the ball, tee it up and let's go. But that seems odd. I don't know. Maybe the way they award the points is going to be different because you can't just throw away the fact what he's worked all season long for to be number one in the FedEx Cup point standings. So I'm not sure how that's exactly going to break down, but we'll get there in a few weeks. But yeah, the starting strokes have been eliminated, which is good. That was kind of a quirky deal anyway.
I know they won't do this, but I'm telling you, I really wish they would listen. The top 30 come in, and why don't they just set up 1 versus 30 match play and then just roll it out? Hey, whoever has the hottest weekend takes the big prize. I get it, but at least their Scottie gets quote unquote an advantage 1 versus 30. If you guys want to reset after each round, that's fine. But that would be perfect in my eyes, Brady.
Yeah. They keep trying to find the perfect balance of, like I say, giving the guy who's on top of the points list an advantage, which they should because he's worked all season long to get to that spot. The starting strokes was not the perfect solution. So they're trying to find that perfect system, and I don't believe they have succeeded in doing so yet. Hopefully they'll get there. And I don't think your format is that might be the best idea we have so far. I don't know. We just have to wait and see and hope for the best.
What is it, 20 million, right? I mean, can you imagine standing over an 8-footer for 20 million bucks? I mean, the drama's there.
Oh man, I have a feeling I'd miss it. I don't have that ice in my veins like that.
Yeah, I tell him to go to a commercial and then I'd putt. Before we get to the 3M, we talked backstage a quick couple seconds on it. One of your selections was absolutely spot on Thursday, and that was Bryson DeChambeau not to make the cut at plus 310. You know me, I'm as sacred as any. When it comes to that, I don't say a word till I know it's complete. And after the first round, I had a text all set up. I'm like, whoa, Jeff, you can't do this. Shoots 78. So I'm like, okay, we got 18 holes, and man, Brady, we're going to get the duck boats and parade. Thoughts after Thursday and thoughts on Friday?
I tell you, I'm sitting there watching him go along, and I'm saying, okay, he's got to go 6 under with 8 holes left to play or whatever. I'm like, this, it's not going to happen, is it? I'm going, oh my God, and I'm right there with you. I'm like, I'm not going to count my chickens yet. We're looking brilliant. We're off to a great start, and he looked like a complete mess. He's trying to hit the ball like a baseball swing out of the gunch, and he's missing the ball. I mean, it was perfect, right? And like you say, I was spot on with the handicap. I didn't think the British Open, the link-style golf, was his cup of tea. It had nothing to do with anything else if he was in bad form or whatever. I just don't think the British Open is his style of a major. I remember betting against Bubba Watson in not only the British, but also the U.S. Open because the guy was great at the Masters, where he could spray the ball all over the yard and knock it into trouble. But when you introduce some tight fairways and knee-high rough over and across the pond, Bubba Watson was an absolute mess, and he missed the cut a dozen times or whatever it was. But I figured Bryson was kind of going to be the same situation. He's obviously dominant at a U.S. Open and a PGA Championship, and he's starting to figure the Masters out. but I felt, okay, links golf. No, this is where it goes sideways for him. It certainly did for day one. Guy birdies the last 4 out of 6 holes on Friday to make it on the number, no less. And then hats off to him, finishes top 10. I will say conditions got much easier over the weekend, and but that I don't want to take it away from him. That, I mean, he obviously played very, very well as well. But if the weather would have kind of stayed with what we saw the first couple of days, maybe it would have been different. But hey, such is gambling, right? We thought we had it nailed, and that stuff happens. So
Turn the page. 3M Open. Twin Cities. The stage is yours. A little preview. What you see, what you're thinking. The week after a major, of course, as we're getting ready for the FedEx Cup, and then probably about 2 months away exactly. And I got my shirt on, by the way. Beth Page for the Ryder Cup. So 3M Open, Brady.
And all that stuff starts to come into play now. Guys are jockeying for position to try and get into that top 70. Remember, it's no longer the top 125. It's the top 70 players only that make the playoffs. We've only got 2 more regular season events before the playoffs begin. So, the guys that are quote unquote on the bubble or just inside the bubble, those are the guys that need to hold serve or make a push or what have you. So that kind of comes into the handicap a little bit. We've got the 3M Open this week, the Wyndham next week, and then we're on to the playoffs, and then, like you say, onto the Ryder Cup. So the season is absolutely winding down here. They've shown over the past, whether you played in the British Open, whether you played in the Barracuda Championship, whether you made the cut, whether you missed the cut, whatever, it hasn't really there hasn't necessarily been a pattern with the winners here of the 3M Open based on what you did the week prior. Now, this is only the 7th edition of this golf tournament on the PGA Tour, so we don't have a ton of history. We don't have a lot of established trends or historical events that have taken place and connections and correlated courses. That all that is relatively, it's in his infancy, right? So TPC Twin Cities, pretty stock TPC course, wider than normal fairways, tree lined, pretty standard rough, big greens, bent grass greens, a lot of water, no surprise in Minnesota. 72 bunkers on the course, which is more than there were at Royal Portrush. We've seen bombers win here. Cameron Champ, Tony Finau, Matthew Wolff, the defending champion, Jonathan Vegas. I looked at big hitters type stuff, strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach, birdies or better gained, strokes gained ball striking, strokes gained on the par fives. Scrambling is really not an issue here with the big greens. Again, it's not a full-blown birdie fest. The average winning score here over the past 6 editions is basically 19 under par. Lee Hodges a couple of years ago did get it to 24. So the guys can go low here, absolutely. I mentioned the correlated courses. Again, we haven't necessarily seen a tremendous pattern develop, but courses that I believe are similar in setup, where you need a similar skill set, or where we've seen similar results on the leaderboard. Rocket Mortgage, Detroit Golf Club, where they were played just a few weeks ago. Sanderson Farms, Country Club of Jackson, where they play in the fall. The Cognizant Classic, the old Honda at PGA National. Diamante, El Cardinal at Diamante, Tigers course, the Worldwide Technologies in Mexico, which they also play in the fall. And then TPC Deer Run, where they played the John Deere Classic a few weeks ago. Those are the courses I came up with, the skill sets and the courses that I came up with to kind of build my handicap around this week.
And speaking of skill sets, what did you use?
Strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach, birdies or better gained, strokes gained ball striking, strokes gained par 5, and then of course strokes gained putting on bent grass greens, and a skill set that you'll find that is really only produced by the PGA Tour, but a skill set that I really like, and I think it applies heavily to this course, is total driving, a combination of accuracy and distance. And we've seen not only big hitters flourish here, but guys that are really good in total driving, not only hitting it long, but also hitting it straight, which is usually a pretty good formula.
The first tee is yours for your outrights.
Okay, so big hitter that is tremendous in total driving. We start with Taylor Pendrith, 35 to 1. 13th at the Scottish Open, which proved to be a bomber's paradise this year. You look at that leaderboard, Goddard, Rory, Marco Penge, big hitters all up and down that leaderboard. Taylor Pendrith finished 13th there. And oh, by the way, Quail Hollow, the site of this year's PGA Championship, and Torrey Pines, those are probably my two top total driving courses on the tour schedule. Taylor Pendrith was fifth at the PGA Championship and has had a couple of top tens recently at Torrey Pines. And where does he rank? 24th on tour in total driving. He was fifth here at the 3M Open last year and runner-up. Has a runner-up finish at Detroit Golf Club as well. So he checks a lot of boxes. 35 to 1 on Pendrith. 35 to 1 on Max Gracerman, Jeff. You know my disdain for Gracerman, over the past year or so. I have been so anti-Max. This guy is a choker. He can't hang on. He's finished runner-up now 4 times in the last 12 months. He's been that bridesmaid repeatedly with the inability to slam the door shut. He may be, I think, there's a point when obviously the guy's going to win eventually. He's not going to continue to finish second, I don't think, forever. And it could be this week where he might be ready to break through. He's finished runner-up here at this course before. He's finished runner-up at Detroit Golf Club before. He was runner-up. Here as soon as last season. And it's also a bit of a watered down field where he is absolutely one of the better players in the field. He hits it long. He's last 24 rounds, 14th in this field for strokes gained ball striking, 16th on approach, 14th for putting, and 13th in birdies or better gained. So, once again, he's arrived at a course where he makes a bunch of sense, and I'm hoping the timing is right where, he goes one step further than finishing runner-up. Emiliano Grillo, tremendous history here, a popular pick this week, got him at 50 to 1. He's been as high as 8th at PGA National, 5th at the Country Club at Jackson, runner-up here at TPC Twin Cities in 2022, and he's twice been runner-up at the John Deere, including just a few weeks ago when he missed out in a playoff there. So Grillo is not as long. He's not a bomber, but he's deadly accurate, and he is 16th on tour in total driving, 4th in this field for approach, 2nd in ball striking, and 11th for birdies or better gained. And then another 50 to 1 shot, Kevin Yu, who we hit successfully last fall at the Sanderson Farms, one of my correlated courses. He is 8th on tour in total driving, 2 top 5 finishes in the last 2 months, last 24 rounds, 17th in this field for strokes gained ball striking, 6th for strokes gained off the tee, and 10th in birdies or better gained with Kevin Yu. Rico Hoey, another guy who's been, in good form as of late, 60 to 1 on Hoey. Number 1 on tour in total driving. Number 1, better than Scottie Scheffler. 13th in this field for strokes gained ball striking, 7th off the tee, 41st for putting, and 36 on the par fours. They got not a handful, but a few short par fours here, less than 400 yards, 350 to 400 yard window. Rico Hoey ranks 36th in this field on those short par fours, and he's finished top 11 in 2 out of his last 3 starts on the PGA Tour. Andrew Putnam, another relatively popular long shot this week. He was 11th last week in Tahoe, the alternate event, the Barracuda Championship. He's finished top 8 twice last month, and back in March, he took 11th at PGA National, 19th and 11th in his last 2 trips to TPC Twin Cities here in Minnesota. Last 24 rounds, 28th in this field on approach, 6th on the short par fours, 6th on the PGA Tour in driving accuracy, and 15th for strokes gained putting. He's a pretty hot player right now. And like I say, a popular pick. It was not hard to believe that a lot of people identified him as a guy that is in very good current form and a long shot that might make some sense this week. Got him at 70-1. And then finally, Kevin Roy, I got him at 110. I've seen his price come down quite a bit, maybe into the neighborhood of 70 or 80-1. You remember, Jeff, it was just a few weeks ago we were on him at the John Deere. He missed going into a playoff by one shot, finished third. And the week before that, he finished top 10 at the Rocket Mortgage at Detroit Golf Club. So I like his form. He is fourth on tour in total driving, second in this field for strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds, sixth in ball striking, and 13th on those short par fours. So Kevin Yu, Rico Hoey, Andrew Putnam, Kevin Roy, Max Gracerman, and Taylor Pendrith, a 7-pack for you in Minnesota.
And your top 20s?
Yeah, what I did is I took all these guys. I played Gracerman and Pendrith for a top 20, both at solid plus money, and then took rest of the guys for a top 40. Even money on Kevin Yu, minus 110 on Griot. All the rest of the guys in the plus money category. Hoey at plus 110, Putnam at plus 115, and Kevin Roy at plus 120. And one head-to-head matchup for you. Going to take Siwoo Kim at even money over Chris Gotterup. Now you say, God, you got to be crazy. Gotterup is red hot. And yeah, and congratulations. I'm happy for him. I think the kid's fun. I hope he continues to do well. He's really obviously got a surge going on in his career right now. Won for the first time ever on the PGA Tour last year at the Myrtle Beach Classic. Comes back a couple weeks ago and wins the Scottish Open, a huge win for him, holds off Rory McIlroy, comes back at the British Open and finishes third. And now there's all this buzz about Chris Gotterup. And hey, the guy's going to make the Ryder Cup team. It's like, wait. he's a favorite in the tournament. He's never been in that role in his career before. He's 18-1 right there with Sam Burns. So, again, I wish the guy a great deal of success, and I'm not going against what this guy's capable of and what he may do going forward. But I just thought it was maybe a little bit too soon, too much too fast to be the favorite in the golf tournament. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to take Siwoo. You know how it is with football. Let's say that the Jacksonville Jaguars win 3 in a row, and people are talking about them ready to go to the Super Bowl. It's that kind of effect with Chris Gotterup right now. It's like, wait, just hang on just a minute. If he continues to do it for another 6 weeks, yeah, maybe he joins the guys at Bethpage. But the guys had a couple of really nice weeks. Hang on. And so I think his price is probably being a bit overvalued. His stock is as high as it could possibly be. So I'll take a shot with Siwoo, another tremendous player, as an underdog, a good-size underdog, to Gotterup this week head-to-head. We'll see if it works.
Well, I love where your eyes are there. This is the classic, on fire, grabbing the PGA by storm. Like you said, win the Scottish Open, right there on the leaderboard all weekend at the British Open. Now the favorite. This is usually when you wake up on Saturday morning and you're looking for Gotterup. Oh, no, he's on a plane. He missed the cut. He's heading elsewhere.
Right. And you go into a quote-unquote easy golf tournament, and, he's the guy that ought to just run away. And it usually doesn't work that way. And let's also realize he just came back from 2 weeks across the pond where he has been absolutely on cloud 9. You would think there's got to be a little bit of an exhale here for a minute, and we hope the timing's right.
Scroller going the whole time here, Brady. Of course, everyone knows on X at Las Vegas Golfer, at the Sports Grid, which you'll be heading to very, very shortly. The new editions of Sportsline, CBS Sports, and soon the Football Contest Show. Tell us everything you got on tap, Brady.
Yeah, the Football Contest Show, the first episode coming almost exactly a month from today, August 22nd, will be live at Circa Resort and Casino to kick off Season 2 of the Football Contest Show. That's coming up soon with my friends Mike Pritchard and James Salinas. Sports Grid, of course, a few different times today, over the weekend, you name it. See my stuff up at CBS Sportsline, my written work at golf.com. So we're all over the place, Mr. Dawson. You know that.
Well, we can't thank you enough as always. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., we're going to reciprocate. Mr. Matthew George from the Sports Grid will be on talking some WNBA and NBA there. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at ET Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Brady Kannon at Las Vegas Golf. We wish everyone a blessed day. Let's cash some tickets at the 3M Open and stay tuned.